Okay, Yokomi Giants. Today we are in our journals taking notes, and we are going to put the date, next blank page, and I'm going to pause the video right now, and I want you to put this title at the top of the page. Adding 0 to the dividend. Adding 0 to the dividend. Okay, now that we have adding 0 to the dividend at the top of our paper, we need to remember there's another layer to long division. And sometimes when we are dividing using long division, we have a remainder. And sometimes that remainder is just left over, but sometimes we can't have a remainder. And we need to completely divide that number into equal parts. And so what we do is we add 0 to the dividend. So for our first example, let's go ahead and write next to the red line, let's go ahead and put 372 divided by 15. So go ahead and write that down nice and neat in your journal. 372 divided by 15. And let's see if I can zoom this in a little bit for you. Focus, and we will get that going. All right, so we have that written down in our journal. So how many 15s are in 3? Yes, 0. So here we go through our long division process. How many 15s are in 3? 0. 0 times 15 is 0. Yes. We subtract 3 minus 0, 3. Okay. Is 3 less than 15? Yes. So we bring down the 7. All right. Here we go again. How many 15s are in 37? So I think out loud, or I think in my brain. I'm thinking out loud, but we think in our brain. 15 and 15, my doubles. That 2 15s is 30, so let's try 2 in my quotient space. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry my 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Let's subtract. 7 minus 0, 7, and 3 minus 3 is our 0, and we can just leave that space blank. Let's check. Is 7 less than 15? Yes, so we can bring down the 2. Alrighty. So I'm thinking that if 2 groups of 15 is 30, I'm thinking, wow, I can double this and get 60. So what is double 2? 2 and 2 is 4. So let's go ahead and put 4 here. Let's multiply. 4 times 5 is 20. Cross that out, carry the 2 over. 4 times 1 is 4, plus the 2 is 6. Alright, let's subtract. 2 minus 0 is 2. 7 minus 6 is 1. Check. Is 12 less than 15? Yes. So, in 4th grade, 3rd grade, or 4th grade, you would normally stop here and say, my answer is 24 with a remainder of 12. Or you would say, my answer is 24 and 12 15ths. Right? Because we would take the remaining of the dividend and use it as the numerator over the divisor. Well, this doesn't always work. Sometimes we need to completely finish dividing the amount to give an equal share to wherever it's going. So here's a legal math move. We add a decimal. Everyone add a decimal after the 2. Pop it straight up into our quotient space. You got it? Then we add a 0 to the dividend. So once we check that 12 is less than 15, we see we have a remainder. We put the decimal, add a 0 in the tenths place, then we can bring it down. All right, so we are going to the size of piece that is going to be less than 1. We're in the tenths place, right? So we have 120 tenths. So, thinking out loud, how many 15s are in 120? Well, let's see. I know 4 sets of 15 is 60. And if I double 60, 60 and 60 is 120. So I'm going ahead and I'm going to double the quotient up here in the tenths place. I'm going to put an 8. Go ahead and put an 8 along with me. Got it? Good. Now, let's multiply. 8 times 5 is 40. Good. Let's cross that off and add my 4 up there. That's my add-in. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 plus 4 is, you got it, the 12. If I subtract that 120, I have nothing of the dividend remaining, and I have 24 and 8 tenths as my quotient. So I have completely divided out the dividend. You got that? So I'm going to pause the tape right now, pause this video, and we'll make sure everyone's caught up and you have answer any questions. And then we're going to go ahead and write a second example below this, okay? Okay, now that we have paused the video, we're going to continue on with a second example, all right? So up here we had a whole number divided by a whole number. Well, what happens if I have decimals? What happens if I have decimals, right? What do we do? So write this example down. 1 and 2300 divided by 600. Now this looks an awful lot like some of our problems the last couple of days when we had money. You know, like Mr. Teely had $1.23 and he was going to buy erasers and every eraser was 6 cents. Something like that. So it looks a lot like those problems. Do you remember those? Yeah, I think so. So what was the first thing we had to remember? The divisor always has to be a whole number. So we move the decimal 2 places to the right because we're multiplying by 10 to the power of 2. And because we move this 2 places to the right, this decimal gets moved 2 places to the right. So let's set that up in long division. All right? So skipping a line, I'm rewriting the problem here. 123 divided by 6. All right? Let's work this out. How many 6s are in 1? That's right, 0. 0 times 6 is 0. Okay, so 1 minus 0, 1. I hope I'm not going too fast. If you are, just please raise your hand and let me know, and we will pause the video. All right, we check now. Remember Mr. Long Division? We check. 1 is less than 6, so we bring down the 2. How many 6s are in 12? Yes, 2. 2 times 6 is 12. Subtract. 12 minus 12 is 0. Is 0 less than 6? Yes. So we bring down the 3. How many 6s are in 3? That's right. We cannot get a group of 6 out of 3. So we put a 0 in our quotient space above this 3. 0 times 6 is 0. We subtract. So we have this 3 remaining in the dividend. Remember our legal move that we just did in the previous problem? We put a decimal after our last digit, pop it straight up into our quotient space. And then we add a 0. All right? We've already checked, and we know that 3 is less than 6, so let's go ahead and bring down this 0 in the 10th place. Wow, that looks like it's going to work out. Looks like a basic math fact to me. How many 6s are in 30? Or, what times 6 will give me 30? Yes, 5. So 5 times 6 is 30. We subtract 30 minus 30 is 0. And we come up with an answer that is completely divided in equal parts by adding a decimal and then a 0 to the dividend.